Hello and welcome to the first lesson of two this week. We're going to look at a power to a power property. So by the end, you'll be able to raise a power to a power and evaluate exponential expressions. So raise a power to a power. So you can see here, we've got 2 to the third time to the fourth power. So if you think about what an exponent means, that means everything in the parentheses is getting multiplied together 4 times. So you see 2 to the third times 2 to the third times 2 to the third times 2 to the third. If you think about what we did last week, you can add those exponents and you could get 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is 2 to the 12th. Is there a quicker way? Yes, there is. You might have seen the relationship already. We did 2 to the third times 4, or multiply the exponents, and you get 2 to the 12th. Okay, so the power to a power property says that if you have any number or any base a and integers m and n, you can multiply the exponents together to get your final exponent. So how's this different from what we did last week? So the big key, I'll point this out, is with what we did last week, you have 2 of the same base with 2 exponents. With what we're doing today, you have 1 base with 2 exponents. Okay, so that's the difference. And when you have that difference, you do something different with the exponents. So in this case, with last week, 2 bases with 2 exponents, you add the exponents. With 1 base and 2 exponents, you multiply them. Okay, so let's do a couple practice problems. So hardest part with this is remembering what to do with the 3. All right, most people don't have trouble multiplying the -2 and the 4, but there's a way to remember it. This is I'm going to do it the longhand way here. I'm not going to recommend doing it this way, but I want you to see what happens. So 3x to the negative second, 4 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81. And then x to the -8, -2 plus -2, or -2 times 4, which is -8. Move the negative exponent to the bottom, and you get 81 over x to the 8th. Now, version 2, you got to look at this like there's an exponent of 1 on the 3. And what you're going to do is you're going to multiply both exponents, the 1 and the -2, by 4. So 3 to the 4th times x to the -2 times 4. And then you get your same answer here, which is 81 x to the -8, which moves 8 to the bottom. Okay. What about when your number or your coefficient is a negative? Well, there's still a positive exponent of 1 on that -2. Okay, so you gotta remember that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply -2. I'm going to multiply the 1 on the -2 by 3. So it becomes -2 to the third power. And then m to the 5th times 3, which is going to be m to the 15th. But -2 to the third power is -2 times -2 times -2, which is -8, m to the 15th. Do I need to move anything here? I don't, because that -8 is a coefficient. It's not a negative exponent. So we are done here. A little more complicated problem, but if you take it step by step, you should hopefully see it's not too bad. So -3, there's an exponent of 1 there. So 1 times 6, 6. X to the 2nd times 6. Y to the -3rd times 6. Now I move to the second expression, x to the 4th times 5 this time, and then y to the 1st times 5 as well. So now we're going to go through and just simplify what we can. -3 to the 6th power is 729, positive this time. X to the 12th, y to the -18th, x to the 20th, y to the 5th. Now we've got what we had last week. We've got 2 x's with 2 different exponents and 2 y's with 2 different exponents. We're going to combine those this time with addition. So that's x to the 30, 12 plus 20, which is 32, and -18 plus 5. Gives me x to the 32nd and y to the -13th. Make sure your negative exponent moves, so it becomes there as your final answer. All right. Final example. What happens when we want to plug a number in for x and y? Well, like I said last week, the best thing you can do here is to simplify first, then plug the numbers in. So let's do that. 2 to the 5th, x to the negative 3rd times 5, y to the 4th times 5, 3 to the negative 3rd. Remember, those exponents are 1, so the base doesn't change. It stays 3 to the negative 3rd, x to the negative 4th times negative 3, and y to the 6th times negative 3. So let's simplify the variable parts first. I'm not going to touch the coefficient yet. I'm not going to do anything with that yet because you'll see what happens at the end. X to the negative 15th, y to the 20th. I'm going to leave the 3 alone. X to the positive 12th, negative times negative makes positive, and y to the negative 18th. I'm going to put my x's together and my y's together. I'm going to leave those alone. I'm going to put them together like in front. I'm not going to do anything yet, but I'm going to put them in front. And then I'm going to get x to the negative 15th plus 12 and y to the 20th plus negative 18. So that's going to be x to the negative 3rd, y to the 2nd. At this point, you could move the x to the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and plug in what I've got. I'm going to put 2 in for x. And again, when you do that, put parentheses. I'm going to put negative 3 in for y, again, using parentheses. So now I have 2 2's. I'm going to put those exponents together. So do you see what I did there? 2 and 2. I'm going to put 5 plus negative 3, which is 2. So I get 2 squared. Those combine. The 3 and the negative 3 do not combine because they are different. So 3 to the negative 3rd stays that way, and negative 3 squared stays that way. Now I'm going to move things around. So 2 squared stays on top. 3 to the negative 3rd, that goes to the bottom and becomes 3 to the 3rd. Negative 3 squared stays on top because that exponent is positive. Now I'm just going to simplify. 2 squared is 4. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. 3 to the 3rd is 27. So that's 36 over 27, which reduces, I can take 9 out of both of those to 4 over 3. And that concludes lesson 1 of week 2.